Hi, I'm Becky Meagher, and welcome to Transitions, Body, Mind, Spirit. This program is about people in transition, and I use the metaphor of triathlons, where first you begin the swim, then you go to the transition area and begin the bicycling, and then you transition again into running. And today we have an amazing triathlete and realtor and inspirational person named Eddie Ferrel. And his story is so inspirational because less than 5 years ago, he was over 135 pounds larger than what he is today. And we want to find out today, how did he do it? What was his process? What was his process in this transition? So welcome, Eddie Ferrel. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Becky. This is kind of exciting.
Well, I'm excited about you. I know that we both do triathlons, and I've seen you out there in the same triathlons that you and I have done, and your story is so amazing. Can you kind of tell us a little background, where you were raised, and were you into sports as a kid, or were you sedentary? Give me a little information.
Well, I was born in Clarksville, but my dad was Air Force, so we moved around every 2 years until I was in the 8th grade. And from high school on to college, I was in Clarksville, and then moved around after that just with different work, and then back in the Middle Tennessee area since then. So I was not active as a kid. I played baseball a little. Without much guidance, didn't really exercise when I did it, and played football 1 year in high school. But
You did play football?
I did play football, but
Okay.
I didn't play. I got hurt, so I didn't play any after that, and I was never really active. My whole life, I really wasn't ever active. If you would have told me at any point up until 3 or 4 years ago that I was going to do a marathon or a triathlon or anything, I would have thought you were crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, I had never thought, I didn't even know what a 5K was.
And for all those who wonder, what is a 5K? Tell them what that is.
It's one of the shorter races, and it's just a 3.1 mile, right?
Right. But so it sounds like you were pretty sedentary up until about the age of what?
I was 35 or 36. It was like 4 years ago, and was definitely the most sedentary ever. Real estate was extremely busy back then. I did not do anything for myself. I had lots of assistants and lots of people on my team that did everything for me except for sell. So I really didn't even put a sign out. Like, I really was very sedentary. And I was at a conference in Atlanta with a business partner of mine, Mary Lynn Foote, and we were watching a show called The Biggest Loser.
The Biggest Loser.
I had never seen it before, and she made the comment that I should go on it.
That you should go on The Biggest Loser.
Yes, that I should try and go on it. And
Okay.
my comment back was, I'm not big enough. And her comment back was, yes, you are. And that is when my light bulb went off. Wasn't immediate. It was about 2 months later that I started to try and do something about it. But that's when it first went off. And I first started looking at pictures and started realizing I really had gotten, I was over 360 pounds, and I just was big.
So you were over 360 pounds. You didn't even know, your self-image was you were not very large. Am I correct?
In my self-image, I looked the same as I had always looked. I just didn't ever realize that I had gained. So I had never been a skinny person, but I didn't realize that I had gotten big, and especially not that big. Especially, and even though I had had some health problems with high blood pressure and things that go along with being obese, it just still never registered in my mind that
It just wasn't on your radar that, hey, I might be overweight, and those people on The Biggest Loser are large, but I'm not like that, until somebody said, yes, you are.
Yeah.
And you probably were hurt.
I was hurt, I was frustrated, and can't ever thank her enough for doing that. It was exactly what I needed to hear. Didn't want to hear it at the time.
Right.
Pouted about it all the way back from Atlanta.
Aw.
But it was definitely what I needed to hear at the time.
So somehow or other, after 2 months of you thinking, well, maybe she was right, maybe I am big, what started you, well, maybe I should do something? What started on the path on that?
It's kind of funny. There's a graduating class from 1983 in Clarksville. I graduated high school in 91. But a class of 83 were having a Biggest Loser contest amongst themselves, and somehow accidentally included me in their emails. There was someone that had a name very close to mine that graduated with them. Well, Bob Harper from The Biggest Loser graduated with them from Clarksville High. He's from Clarksville originally, so he was their motivation. And so there it was, The Biggest Loser again. I was hearing about it, and I was like, well, I might try this, you know. And some other friends were also going to run a half marathon. And I thought, well, I'll just do all that. And that's when it started. And I joined the little group and started watching The Biggest Loser and eating paying attention to what I ate and following The Biggest Loser cookbooks. And I started training for my first half marathon.
Wow. So you changed your diet, and how did that change? What was a more typical diet that you had before you realized maybe I need to do something?
I rarely ate anything not fried.
Not fried?
Not fried. And my grandmother taught me to cook, so she's a Southern woman, and we started everything with lard. Like you just, that's how you started everything. I did not know that you could make pasta noodles. I didn't know you could boil pasta noodles without putting in some type of oil. Like I thought you had to do that. I mean, literally everything I did started with some type of grease, oil, something. And so that was an easy fix, just to cut out a lot of fried. And then I also didn't like vegetables. So
you didn't like vegetables. Were you brought up with vegetables at all?
No. I was just I was a finicky eater, and it was just okay to not eat that. We ate a lot of fast food.
So there's fast food. You're on a high-paced office, and just grabbing fast food. Your typical thing, you put lard and you cook it and you fry it, and that's your diet. Yes. And no vegetables.
Very rare. If it was a vegetable, it was a fried vegetable.
It was a fried vegetable. Yeah. Okay. And you never even, it wasn't on your radar to change that. That was just the way you grew up. That's what you knew, right?
Right. Just never really thought that it needed to be anything different. I enjoyed the way it tasted. I didn't mind the way I looked or felt, so I thought. I didn't think you could feel any better. I just thought that was what feeling in your 30s was going to feel like. And I also had a drinking problem at the time, so all that kind of masked it all. About 6 months after trying to start losing the weight, no, actually 8 months and 29 days since I started trying to lose the weight, I also decided to get sober. So I haven't drank anything in 3.5 years. And that helped with the weight loss, and it also just helped with the whole living healthy.
Did you go in any program for that?
I did everything there is. I'm an all or nothing guy.
Okay.
So anything someone said I could do, I did. I did treatment. I went to 12-step meetings, still go. I just involved in church groups that helped with recovery. And it helped with the YMCA has some great programs that help with recovery. So I'm all or nothing. So I just jumped right in. So,
wow.
And very happy for that part of my life as well. Like I don't think I could have one good part without the other part.
So there was the changes in the diet, no more alcohol, just take that out. And then what about the exercise part? How did that start to change?
Well, my first half marathon, the country music, which I don't think is the best first half for people, but
because
it's so hilly and hot. It is so hilly and hot. The Tom King is a much better first half.
Because the Tom King half marathon. And
it's cooler. It's
how many
in March.
miles is a half marathon?
It's 13.1 miles.
Okay.
So I had no good training plan for this half marathon. I kind of ran a couple times a week.
Okay.
I got out there and did it and was miserable. I mean, miserable. Had hurt my leg the week before. Couldn't talk when I got to the finish line, to the point that they thought I was special needs and was looking for a guardian for me and wouldn't let me go.
Wow. And this is the first...
That was my first half.
Okay. Now, had you done a 5K before that?
I had done one 5K with my cousin, who also helped me get motivated on. Her and I both started a weight loss thing together, and we did the Fantastic in Nashville here, February 14th. And my best 5K time is right around 21 minutes now.
Wow.
That first 5K was 53 minutes.
Okay.
And I came across that finish line like I had won a gold medal.
You were so happy.
So excited, yes.
Wow, isn't that wonderful? And that your 5K, your 3 miles, your first ever in your whole life. How many months had you been training for that?
The 5K we did zero training. Like I think we went and ran once or twice before that. But
Wow.
But I had no idea what 3 miles in downtown Nashville was going to be like. Wow. Nor did I realize even what 13.1 miles was going to be like when I first did it. Mm-hmm. I've since learned there's a lot of importance to training correctly for whatever event you're doing. So that's been a big change. But the exercise side of it has just become such an important part of my life. Without the exercising, I know I would have never lost the amount of weight I lost just by diet. I think it took both. I know nutrition's a huge part of it, but I think it took both, and not just the weight loss, but the confidence. I gained so much confidence with every race, and every time I added a distance to the race. My first half marathon after that first one, the first one I felt good about, was huge for my confidence, and then after that I did a marathon, which is
full marathon.
Yes, 26.2
miles.
Yes.
Where did you do that full marathon?
In Memphis.
In Memphis.
The St. Jude.
Okay.
And had a lot of fun raising money for it. I let my office shave my head to raise money.
You shaved your head?
I did.
Do you have a picture of that?
I do.
Okay, we might be able to find a picture of that. We'd like to see the shaved head.
St. Jude is just such a amazing hospital, and their fundraising's awesome. So when I signed up and they said you could be a hero and help raise money, I did and set some goals. And so the office helped. I think we raised over $1,500 that day just to shave my head, which I don't think my hair is worth that. But we had a good time doing it, and a lot of support, got a lot of people involved. So it was
And that
exciting.
was your first full marathon?
My first full.
And did you feel that you had the support of people who donated money to the cause, and part of your ambition to do it was, I need to do this for this charity and for all the people who are supporting me?
I really did, and I think that's one of the things that I think is so awesome about doing all the sports stuff that we do and all the endurance sports.
So your first marathon was how soon into your whole change of life here? A year, 2 years?
A year and a half.
A year and a half. So basically you started from the couch, no exercise, and in a year and a half did a full marathon. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. And are you self-training yourself all this time, or when does I know you have a training group now, but when did you decide to bump it up even further?
Well, my first year of exercise was just kind of a hit and miss. Mm-hmm. The second year was the year that I decided to try and do triathlons. I did 3 that year. And I had a couple great friends in Clarksville that just kind of helped guide me through. I bought a book and followed the book, and then had a couple of friends just kind of help guide me through. Andrea and Judy were just, they're amazing triathletes, and they just really took me under their wing and helped me a lot.
They were personal friends of yours.
Yes.
That just kind of said, this is how you do it.
Yep.
And just explain, when you did 3 triathlons, and there's so many different types of triathlon. There's the Ironman, which is the biggie, and then there's smaller. Explain the 3 ones you did. Were they sprints or
I did
Olympic?
2 sprints and then an Olympic.
Okay, and explain what that means.
Typically, you're going to have the sprint is going to be the smallest. The first sprint I did was a longer sprint, which everyone said it was the best first one to do, and it was very well organized, and it's one of my favorite races. It's the Mach 10 in Tullahoma, but it's a longer sprint. So it was a longer swim than normal. So it's 800 meters, I believe. It's usually 400 meters. So not being a good swimmer, I don't know why I tacked on my first one to be extra. And then I believe it's a 15-mile bike and then a 4-mile run. at the end of that one. It's usually just a 5K, the 3.1, but that one's a little bit longer.
So that was your very first triathlon?
Very first one.
And I've done that probably about 6 times myself, and it's a wonderful triathlon.
It's my favorite race, just repeating it and seeing how much better you can get. My first one was just a disaster in the swim.
But you finished.
But I finished. And literally there were 95 people that went in the water after me, and there were 5 people left in the water when I got out. So 90 people passed me.
Wow.
But I passed a lot of them on the bike and even more of them on the run. So
it
all works out fine. And that's the cool thing about triathlon. You don't have to be great at any of the 3, just average at all of them.
Right, and finish.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So that was my first year of triathlon. I did 2 sprints and Olympic. And then the next year I did 10 races, 2 half Ironmans, several sprints, and mostly Olympics.
Wow, and then in the process, is your weight steadily going down during this time?
Yes.
And you're incorporating your different eating habits, different exercise habits, doing races for charities, and it sounds like you're just upping the ante every year. It's more and more and more.
Yes, and it's kind of a new addiction for me. Just, okay, what can I do next? What can I, what's the next level? What's the, how can I make this race better? How can I get better at whatever? And it's just improving who you are every day. And it's in your everyday life the same, but same thing with nutrition. You know, when you're racing, nutrition's so important race day, but it's just as important leading up to it. So I think it all just kind of has gone hand in hand for me to learn more about what to eat correctly that's going to fuel me to be better at the long distance stuff or the short stuff or whatever I'm doing. And that was an exciting year because that's the first year I got coached. I was coached that year with Barry Baird.
And Barry Baird is a coach
he's a local coach
in Clarksville?
In Nashville.
In Nashville?
He actually lives in Hendersonville.
Okay.
He's with X3 Endurance now, and he was prior with he owned Endurance Geeks.
Okay.
And he coached me through most of that year. I did the first half of the year on my own and realized that I was making a little bit of a mess of it. I needed a little better guidance, and he helped me along, and it was an amazing difference when someone told you what to do and what not to do. I kind of had a problem with overtraining. I thought to do something longer, I needed to do a whole lot more. So when I was training for my first half Ironman, I was probably doing most of what some people did for their training for a first Ironman, which is double the distance. So,
and explain what a half Ironman is.
A half Ironman is a 1.2 mile swim, a 56 mile bike, and a 13.1 mile run.
Okay.
And then a full Ironman, the big one, is a 2.4 mile swim, 112 miles on the bike, and then a full marathon at 26.2.
So you had a professional trainer, and did you have a group to meet up with?
Well, I didn't really meet up with the group a lot. I still was riding a lot with the people in Clarksville that just had helped me get through everything. And then I would come up to Nashville and ride with and run some with and swim with the Nashville Tri Club. And then met more people up here and just started training all over the place, really.
In the meantime, your weight started at 65. 65. And then as the years progress, you got down to what?
Last year, my weight before I did Ironman New York was at 220, 221.
220. So 365 to 220 in 3.5, 4 years.
Yeah, and most of it came off the first year and a half.
Okay.
Most of it came off, the first 80 pounds came off in the first year.
80 pounds the first year.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my goal had been 100, so I was a little upset, but I took the 80. I was okay with it. And then the rest, and then last year I kind of hit a plateau most of the year. Stayed kind of right around the same thing until after my bike accident in September.
And we're going to talk about that too. But you did a full Ironman, and that was just the one and only in New York City. And didn't you win something to even qualify to do that? And this was last year?
Yes, it was last year, and it's kind of funny. I tried to sign up. Ironmen sell out really fast, all of them except Louisville. I just didn't want to do Louisville because I'm not great in the heat. So I tried to sign up for Florida, Arizona, and New York.
Wow.
And I missed out on all three of them. I've since then realized some tricks on not answering all the questions fully when you're signing up. But I missed out on all three of them. So I thought I was only going to get to do a couple halves last year. And I had bought a new wetsuit from Tier, A Freak of Nature is the name of it. And you got to enter a contest. So I bought that back in February, and I bought it to go do the Escape from Alcatraz race that I did last year in June.
The Escape from Alcatraz, that's where you actually do it's a Olympic triathlon in San Francisco and swim in the shark-infested waters. Just a little aside.
Yeah.
But go ahead, we're talking about New York.
And so 34 days before Ironman New York, most people train 6 to 9 months for an Ironman.
They say it's 9 months to birth a full Ironman.
And I found out 34 days before New York that I had won a slot into the sold-out Ironman U.S. Championships. I also had won 2 plane tickets, hotel accommodations, ground transportation, all that stuff.
What luck!
Yes.
What great luck!
It was great luck.
This is from winning this contest.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, and you did it.
I did it. Yeah, my goal was not to go out there and race it and be super fast or anything, because I only had 34 days to train. Oh. I just wanted to finish it, and it was an amazing day. Now, they canceled the race the day after because the logistics were a nightmare and the course was a nightmare, and it's not what you think you're going to get to race in New York City because there are no bright lights and shiny stuff with our race course. So you swam in the Hudson, which it scares most people anyway, and then you biked mostly in New Jersey on some crazy hills, and then you ran in a park and then in New Jersey, and then you crossed the river into another park, Riverside Park, and so literally you don't get to see any great stuff of New York. And they had a noise ordinance, so you didn't even get a lot of cheers, and you didn't get to hear the great announcement at the end saying you are Ironman.
Oh no!
So New York wasn't the greatest place, but it was an amazing day, an amazing experience.
Yes, and you're wearing the Ironman jacket, and we're also, in a second, we're going to look at his Ironman tattoo also. But I do want to get to the next part of this in your transition in life, and this is a great lesson for us all. You can do all this wonderful stuff, and then things happen. Sometimes you have an accident, and it was just lately that he had an accident and also some health issues, but he's still out there, and that's why I think it's so inspirational. So tell us about the biking thing that happened. Okay. What was that about? What bones broke? I was
training for half Ironman in Augusta, and I was out with 3 other people riding. We were just going to have a nice long ride that day, and somehow we got me and another cyclist got tangled up. She hit my back wheel somehow and flipped me over my handlebars. Oh. We were going down a really big hill. I was going probably close to 30 miles an hour.
Wow, going downhill?
Downhill.
On the bike?
On the bike.
Okay.
And
wow.
Flipped, landed on my head and then my shoulder.
Wow.
So I broke both sides of my shoulder blade, the scapula, cracked all my ribs in the back, tore pretty much all the muscles and tendons in between all of that, bruised my lungs. They thought my hip was broke because of the amount of crazy road rash and everything I had from the bike, but it was fine. Lots of scarring everywhere else, but it was quite an adventure that day.
I bet. And then you were in the hospital for 3 days?
No, I was luckily, I went to Gateway in Clarksville, and then they transferred me to the trauma unit at Vanderbilt, and I was released late that evening.
Wow.
So yeah, I was very happy to get to Vanderbilt, and they were awesome.
And the amazing thing is that you have started training again, but then there was a cancer issue, correct?
Yes.
And that just happened?
Yes.
Tell us about that part.
In January, I went to a endocrinologist because there was something that they found during the bike wreck on a CT that didn't look normal in my neck.
Ah.
So the bike wreck was no longer a problem to me. It was a blessing.
Wow.
They found this thing, and the endocrinologist realized later that the left side of my thyroid had just turned into one big tumor, and the right side had lots of small tumors in it. So found that out on a Thursday, and then the following Monday, we just had it all taken out. So had my total thyroid removed on February 4th.
Okay, so, and here we are in mid-March. So, and are you out there still, have you started training, or are you giving yourself a time to not do any training, or what?
After the surgery, I had to take off 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
I tried to come back gung-ho and realized quickly what surgery was really like.
Okay.
So I realized that I needed to ease into it. And that's kind of what I've been doing since. I've kind of changed my my realization of what I could do, because I need to build back to it. And instead of just training swim, bike, run, which is what I did the last couple years, I've got a personal trainer, Tyler McPeak, that is helping me get back to my fitness level so I can get back to the swim, bike, run that I want to do. But I'm still doing I haven't got back to swimming yet, just with all the shoulder injuries. That should be soon. But the biking and the running is coming back slowly.
Wow. And as we come to a conclusion, I'd love for you to kind of tell our audience, if somebody's out there and they're sedentary, what would you recommend to them? And it's an amazing journey that you've told us about.
I think the biggest thing to do is to realize that you can do anything. And it's just one day at a time. And it doesn't matter what it is going on in your life. You can literally do anything if you just do it one day at a time. So you can eat healthy for one day. You can exercise one day. You can, whatever it is that you want to do, you can just do it that one day. And that one day is all that matters. So if you just keep adding them together, then everything else is going to come out okay. I think having a support group along the way is amazing. You know, I have a coach in triathlon. I have a personal trainer now. I just think having someone to guide you, not trying to reinvent the wheel, is important too. But a good support group. I've got some amazing friends that have been just so supportive, including yourself. Anytime I post something that was like, hey, by the way, I have cancer, you were like so nice, and everybody was. And those kind of things just get you through those rough spots. And you know, you just realize that you can get through anything. You know, just got to have a little bit of faith and a little bit of grit.
Well, Eddie, thank you so much for being with us. I think it's such an inspirational story. And thank you, and have a good night.